Okay, we're live. Aloha kakou. Mahalo for joining us tonight on Kanakanology. We're so pleased and honored to have us with tonight Auntie Hulu Lindsey. She is currently the chair of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Board of Trustees and has spent many years in dedication, in service to the Hawaiian people. So mahalo so much for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So we're really looking forward, Auntie, to getting to know a little bit about your journey and how you became on this path to where that has led you to where you are now.
Well, before I start, I just want to
Yeah.
give a little background of me.
Okay.
You know that I come from your island.
Hi.
I was born and raised in Waimea.
Mhm.
So I come from the Lindsey clan.
Mhm.
And when I was about 8 years old, we moved to Keaukaha. And I went to Waikiakai and Hilo High School. And then my dad didn't have a good job on the Big Island. So my parents moved us to Oahu. And as a result, I graduated from Farrington High School.
Oh.
So I went to college um, in my right after high school, but I didn't graduate.
Oh.
So um, yeah, I didn't graduate. But you know, those days were kind of hard. Um,
Mhm.
you know, we didn't have a lot of money. We struggled like all our other families. So I decided that I should go to work and help my parents. I had
Mm.
two siblings younger than me. I had a brother that was in college, and my sister was also. Actually, she got married very young, right out of high school. So I, being the middle of five children, I decided that I wanted to go to work, which I did. So one of my first jobs, which was very exciting, was to work at the Department of Hawaiian Homelands.
Oh wow.
And I know that was, it's just coincidental now that I look back. And that was during the days of Governor Quinn. And
Okay.
so Governor Burns ran for office. He was our delegate to Congress. He ran for office and won the governorship. And he decided he's going to reorganize the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. So ends up, my job is dissolved, and I don't have a job. So I was on civil service lists those days. And within 2 days, the governor's office called me, went up there, they hired me. So I worked for Governor Burns for 8 years. And
Nice.
Wow.
yeah, I really learned what politics was all about. So it was very intriguing for me to help other people get elected. And I thought that there was no way that I would
Oh.
ever think of running for election. That was never one of my desires. I had a really good feeling about helping people get elected. In fact, I was in the county mayor's um campaign. Those days was Kealoha. You know, he was our county
Hi.
mayor there in Hilo. Yep.
Mhm.
So, yep. And then
Hmm.
let's see, life went on. I got married, I had my babies and what have you. And I married I first married the Maluo a boy from Hilo, the Maluo family that used to live
Oh.
on Manono. And
Yeah.
then things didn't work out for us. We got divorced. He and I are still like brother and sister today. We had one baby. Well, that's the Hawaiian way. You
Yeah.
gotta just,
Yeah.
you know, for the
Get
kids'
on.
sake, for the
Mhm.
kids' sake, you have to be on good terms. So I had my oldest girl with him, and then I married a Japanese guy from Maui, and that's how I moved to Maui. I left the governor and moved to Maui.
Oh wow.
So I had two more children, and they kind of live happily ever after. And
Mhm.
then one day I get a call from my lady friends that live in Honolulu, and they told me that there was a vacancy in the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and they want me to put my name in. And I said, "Oh no, you're crazy." I said, "There's no way." And I mean, this went on for weeks, where they called me almost every single day telling me, "You have to put your name in because, it's hard to find good people, blah, blah, blah." So anyway, in the end, I did put my name in reluctantly. And the process with with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs is the trustees get to choose uh, the trustee, the new trustee for any vacancy, but they have to have 6 votes. And the trustees could not get 6 votes. They went on and on for 14 rounds. Didn't get any.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, if they couldn't come to a decision, it moves to the governor. So
Mm.
so that's what happened actually. And to make a long story short, um, my history of working for Governor Burns is what made that governor appoint me, because
Mm.
I was the most active Democrat, and you know how politics is with different parties, whether you're a
Mhm.
Republican or a Democrat. So that's how I won my seat. Actually, I was appointed in 2012 in January, and by November, I had to run for that seat because there were 2 more years left.
Oh,
So
my.
Mhm.
I did run, and I was elected, and I ran 2 more times. I've been in office for 9 years now.
Wow.
So all of the old timers that were there when I got in, they're all gone,
Mhm.
except young John Waihee.
Yeah, John
He's
Wayne.
he's the only one that's been there longer than me. So
Right.
he's been there 20 years, and I only made 9 years. So that's the story of my journey, how I got to OHA. Now,
Wow.
now that I am the chairperson, um,
Mhm.
I have a vision to hopefully accomplish the mandate that we have as trustees, to accomplish our mission, and that is to improve the conditions of our Hawaiian people. And, we were given 30 acres of land in Kaka'ako in exchange for monies that the state owed OHA for back payment of our portion of the public land trust revenues. The
Right.
public land trust revenues are monies that are earned um, by leases or uses, And when OHA was created, um, the the federal had given back to the state of Hawaii the lands that they stole,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and they did steal it, that, you
Yes.
know. So they gave the
Well
state.
documented.
Yep. So they gave the land back to the state of Hawaii, and of all the lands of our Hawaiian lands, we OHA is supposed to get 20% off of all the earnings that our lands earn. We call that our revenue. But they were not paying us. They were not paying us that money. So, OHA pushed, and we sued. We sued. And then eventually they admitted that they owed us about $200 million. So the lands in Kaka'ako is worth $200 million. And however, they didn't give it to us with residential possibilities. It's all commercial land. Well,
Mm.
if you're in real estate, you know that in order to build something, you have to make money off of something else, and that something else would have been residential condominiums, just like Howard Hughes did all around Ala Moana, you know. But the legislature don't want to give it to us. They're claiming that, oh, it's going to block their view and blah-de-da and what have you. But our argument is, you folks gave a foreign company permission to build those high rises by Ala Moana, if you folks have been in Honolulu recently.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And they have a permit to build 22 more. But
Huh?
they cannot give the Hawaiians our 2 or 3 that we wanted down there. We are in the legislature right now asking them to please allow us residential use. And we may have to call on our lahui to help us. And
Mhm.
and many of our people say, "Oh, why should we help you folks? What good is that going to do for us?" Plenty, because if we can get the revenue that those properties are capable of making, it's amazing how much money that can come back to the lahui. I'm not talking millions, I'm talking billions. And I may not be here when those monies come in, but in my mind, I think our people on the wait list of Department of Hawaiian Homelands, many of them, their names did come up, but they could not qualify for financing, or they didn't have the down payment required. So they were passed up, and they're still on the list. But many people, I'm talking thousands of people, have been approached already for land, but they just don't qualify. And this was told to me by DHHL, because I always bring up the 28,000 on the list. I want to know why. And that's what I've been told, that believe it or not, we have really interviewed a lot of our people, and either they don't want where we're offering them the land, because you have to I believe state where you're interested when you put your name on the Hawaiian Home list.
Mhm.
So if you're interested in Hawaii Island, they'll offer you any piece on Hawaii Island. Or
Mhm.
maybe you don't want to live in Hilo, you want to live in Waimea, so you pass it by. And that,
Mhm.
I know that's happened a lot, because
Mhm.
people have an idea where they want their land. So either you pass it by, you have bad credit, or you don't have the down payment. Those are the 3 reasons our list is so large.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I think that Hawaiian Homes cannot keep up with putting in the infrastructure and subdividing all these new projects. OHA does give um, Department of Hawaiian Homelands $3 million every year. And we have committed to give $3 million for 30 years. So that's $90 million. But believe it or not, that money is going to pay for past loans that Hawaiian Homes borrowed in order to open new projects. And one of the projects is right in Maui, where I live, up in Waiahuli.
Mhm.
And I believe there's others on different islands, because I think the money went spot develop on almost every island during the Linda Lingle days,
Mhm.
when Mike Akane was the
Chair.
chairman, yeah, of Hawaiian Homes.
Mhm.
So yeah, and my idea, or my wish list, or my dream, is that we make enough money at Kaka'ako so that we can help the people that qualify with their down payment. That's what I would like to see. And for that reason, I want our lahui to help us, just like how we all gathered to protect our mauna. I
Mhm.
would love to see that kind of support, where our people call their legislators, their representatives, their senators, and demand that we get the residential, just like the people across the street. Right across from us, they're building condominiums with approvals. So
Mm.
that is what's keeping me really busy right now, because the legislature
Right.
is in session, and we're talking with a lot of the senators and representatives. So basically, that's what I've been working on
All right.
since I became the chair.
How do you feel about the DHHL reform proposals that are coming through the ledge this session? Are you familiar with some of them? That
No, I'm not.
The Sovereign Council of Hawaiian Homelands Association, Robin Danner.
Robin
What's
Danner guys, they're proposing DHHL
Strong.
reforms in the ledge to try and address some of those root issues. Yeah, because I see what you're saying. There's that need for this problem where people cannot qualify for the homes because of their credit or they cannot afford the down payment. But you know, looking at the root of why is those requirements there? Yeah, like that wasn't probably, from what I understand, wasn't the original intention of the 1921 Act to have a homeland if you have good credit only. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah. So how do you think OHA could support some of those addressing not only the fixing, you know, addressing some of the needs in the current situation, but changing the system so we don't have those types of obstacles?
well, I don't think that it's only obstacles. I think that's the way of life. You know, somebody not going to buy you one house. You have to buy your own house.
Mm-hmm.
However, when the land is free, like the Hawaiian homelands, you know, it's almost like somebody gave you half of your house, because that $1 a year, you know how much land is in Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's major, yeah. So if
Major.
the house costs 300,000, then your mortgage would probably be at least a $600,000 property. But no, that if you can qualify, let's say for 300,000, then I think that's a benefit that our Hawaiians with 50% or more has. You know, so I would like to see some help. Um, you know, we give out a lot of grants, and you know, I've been talking to our big staff and telling them, oh, good if we could help our people with down payment. You know, like how people get grants for
Yeah.
to go to school. If they could
Right.
get grants for down payment of their house, oh, that would be so wonderful.
It
You
would.
know,
I'm saving
yeah,
for mine right now.
yeah,
I'm gonna need $20,000 to $30,000, and I'm a single mom and a teacher, so it's gonna take me some years
right,
to
right.
bankroll. Some
Well,
years. Yeah, so I
and
think that is definitely it would be very helpful. It's a big thing to save thousands and thousands of dollars.
right, very big.
Yeah, it's challenging with the cost of
Well,
living so high. So I can definitely see how that is that part of like the designation of this monies of the Kakako project, or would you have to like generate the revenue and then create the program one by after?
yes, that's how it is. You got to
Mm,
generate the revenue. You cannot give away money you don't have.
right. Tax.
But then, Chairwoman, I just wanted to ask the question then, when, you know, because you talked about that the state, in other words, did not have the 200 million to pay in cash.
Right,
Am I mistaken? To the Office of Hawaiian Affairs.
right.
So when was it that you folks understood that it didn't come already with that residential permit?
No, when we took it, we knew never have the residential, although we kind of fought in, and I'm not saying me because I had just gotten in, so I wasn't involved. And I think actually the deal was made before I became a trustee, like 1 or 2 months before. But the story that was told me was that they fought for the residential, but certain people in the legislature said, if you folks are going to demand that, we're not going to pass the bill at all to give you folks the land. So the
Okay, but
governor,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the governor at that time was Abercrombie.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Right.
believe that he told our trustees, no worry, we're going to get them next year. We're going to get it next year. But next year never came. You know, and as you well know, he only
Yes.
served the one term.
Yes. You didn't get reelected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're still having that same problem we had when we got Kakako today.
Mhm.
The same
Mhm.
people that didn't want us to have the residential, they're still in the legislature and they're still saying no.
Mm.
Okay, so looking at that, just that, yeah, and this is a problem on ongoing. I don't know if it's a problem, but an ongoing situation of most of our trusts. You know, Department of Hawaiian Homelands, the power it may be, the commission at that time, make decisions. They're termed out. We have a new group of people coming in and stuff, that has to deal with what they've done in the past. This is what I feel that why it's important that, we do talk story in a sense with organizations that are putting forth this proposition of reforming the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. And that's coming from the Sovereign Council of Hawaiian Homelands Association under the direction of Robin Danner, because the beneficiaries have been the product, or the end product ends up to be in response to all these decision makings that has been going on around us as beneficiaries. So we end up to be the product of 28,000 on the wait list. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying this is an ongoing issue process of us Kanaka in general,
Right.
through all
I
of these
agree.
systematic situations. So, we fully understand that part of the pilikia in all of this is that, and they're part of the reform, I guess, that wants to be addressed in reform for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands is coming from the beneficiaries themselves. Yeah, the reform process is coming from the beneficiaries. And we're just asking that some of the ongoing things that have been going in that level of commission appointee, the chair being the same as the administrator. We're talking about, on our homes, on Hawaiian homes, we're not even able to use our equity in our homes. We get, like how you said, when you look at real estate, even if you're in a lease situation, you make money on the equity of just your, what is that, improvement, which is your home. You might not make it on the land, but we have
Right.
equity. You know that we don't have equity. We don't get equity in our homes to
Well,
use as another way to like send our children to college or to do things to start up a business,
Or
etc. So there's
improve,
just this
fix your
piling.
roof, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Home improvement kind.
And so we
well,
just wait
I don't,
to see where this process of the commission is going to take us on every level of our lives.
Yeah.
And we don't feel that we've had a voice in it.
I actually don't think that equity has anything to do with Hawaiian Homes. I think it has everything to do with the banks.
Correct.
The banks are
Funding.
not allowing our people to use their equity. And I don't know why, because equity is equity, but I think it's because the land is leased land,
Mm.
Well, we should be able to qualify for HUD programs, for our homes.
Yes,
When I
absolutely.
look at how the Hawaiian homes do a lot of their financial stuff in regards to affordable housing and stuff, it's just like all I'm saying right now, Auntie, is that we are become the products of the decision making of commission, decision making of our trusts, and the beneficiaries are really like making this initiative to look at reform. Example, when we're looking at Hawaiian Homes as a whole and as the product of what I've experienced for how many years I've lived on Hawaiian Homes, there's no accountability. I don't know what the financial records are. I look at how much money they received from the legislature in the past. I've also seen, that a lot of a lot of stuff that has been going on. It's like, I feel like they don't have the capacity, and they're not growing. Everything is centralized in Honolulu. We're 100 years old, 60 years in the state of Hawaii, or 50 something years in the state of Hawaii, 41, whatever, 41 years in the state of Hawaii. You know, I mean, what is it? What is it? Why don't we have more people in homes? You know, why when I look at Hawaiian Homes projects now, it's to me an upgraded mayor rights housing, upgraded, you know, Lanakila housing projects, where we're just being shoved into these situations where when you look at Waimea, they have beautiful land. You know, they have at least an acre or something. Before it used to be 1 acre. Why are we containing our people to accept that kind of living? And then we're getting whatever. But besides Hawaiian Homes, my concern, you know, what topic you brought up tonight was the fact that, you know, we as Office of Hawaiian Affairs accepted the state of Hawaii's deal of kaka'ako in place of hard cash.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm not a real astute business person, but I mean, what?
No, the thing is,
That doesn't make sense.
well, it certainly does, because land will grow faster than, let's say, cash. If you put that 200 million in the bank versus us having the land for 9 years, that land is worth like 300 million today. And the cash would not. So I think it was, I'm not saying it was a fantastic deal because we don't have the residential. Because the thing is with development, you have to make money in one side in order to build the other side. Now, there's no question that we want Kaka'ako to be a Hawaiian sense of place. So, and that is our economic engine. It was not meant to be any housing area. It was meant for us to have money in perpetuity to help our people, your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren, so that they'll always have money. So we need to make sure that we invest in this property properly so that we can foresee all of the finances that we can earn to lift our people up in whatever way it takes, whether it's health, education, welfare, sustainability, and housing especially. Now, you know that we don't have any say over Hawaiian Homes. I hear what you folks are saying, and well said, but that's not our kuleana. They are a state agency, and so are we. You know, we're not independent, unfortunately. So we do exist with state laws. So I think what we have to do is do the best we can. Actually, I was very excited. I was informed that Senator Schatz became the chairman of the Indian Affairs Committee.
He did. He did.
And for many, many years, and I'm not talking about federal recognition at all, so don't misunderstand me. I think that if we should ever develop a government, it should be developed by our people, not by a state agency called OHA, or not by a state agency called the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. It should be developed by our people. However, having Senator Schatz in that position, we can advocate for better health, education, and welfare, and have them include us, our native Hawaiians, in all the perks that the Indians get. We don't have to have a nation that is recorded, for example. We exist. We exist. Nobody can tell us we don't exist. So if the Indians and the Alaskans can get those perks, the Native Hawaiians should get it too. And I
True.
have great faith in Senator Schatz that something good could happen for us. And it doesn't even have to involve nation building. Although I'm gonna give a speech on Wednesday to, I'm kind of nervous because I'm not ma'a,
Who are you
but
giving it to?
to them, to that committee, the
Oh.
national committee, Senator Schatz and Senator Murkowski from Alaska is his vice chair, but
Right.
Senator Schatz is the chair. So I'm really excited for Hawaii because he's kind of been showing a lot of support for
Mhm.
not only our whole state but us Hawaiians,
Mhm. Mhm.
So my
For
speech is
Native
gonna,
people, actually, for Native peoples.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, my little speech is gonna centralize on our individual what our independence as a Native Hawaiian,
Mhm.
and that when our people decide that they're gonna move, then it has to be their decision,
Mhm.
you know. But
So
yeah,
getting a little bit back to the how then, how can we help the Office of Hawaiian Affairs with the Kaka'ako project? Do you have
I think
literature that we can, put on our page, or we can, um, that we can, at least have it addressed?
Is there
Well,
any bills this session?
Yeah.
Is there any bills this session to, what is it, a zoning change?
it's actually asking for residential use at Kaka'ako. It's
Okay.
Senate Bill 1334. Senate
Okay.
Bill 1334. It's very active right now. It passed through the Hawaiian Affairs Committee, and now it's
All right.
in the Judiciary Committee. So I'm feeling a little resistance there. And then if it passes, then it's going to go to the House, and we have more resistance in the House because the Speaker of the House lives in Kaka'ako. So he thinks
And
that he thinks that his people don't want us to develop it because they came together and they all have red shirts. Can you believe that? Red shirts. That's our color, but oh wait. Anyway. Yeah.
And
So
they're against this
you have a
residential
list of
zoning?
people we should know about that,
Color.
This thing, like you said, about 9 years ago, whatever, then when this whole thing happened, it's like, come on, we got to stop dragging that dead horse. Get up to 2020, 21, let's move these things,
Yep.
Right. What do you think, Auntie? I'm curious, in your 9 years in OHA, and this term to fulfill, what are some things that you really hope, besides this housing, na Kaka'ako, what are some other areas that you particularly, what are your bebes that you're working on in OHA?
Well, actually, my baby has been this from the very beginning because I told you that I came in 2012 and they gave it to us in 2012. So I've been watching it for the last 9 years. But when politics is involved, you not always are in a leadership position. And I haven't been in a leadership position for quite a few years.
Right.
So now that I'm like totally turning my engines in full blast to see what I can get done, in at least this 2 years that is my term
Right.
of being the chair. And then I have to decide if I'm going to run for re-election next year. But no, I want to see. I also am very passionate about protecting our iwi kupuna. I have been very active with our Maui people. I've been watching what is that church? Kawaihao.
I
They had disinterred a lot of EV,
Aye.
and they have not fixed it yet. Although they promised that they will. So I'm watching that. In Maui, we have lots and all over different areas. Down Kihei, down in Lahaina, out in Haiku, and right in Wailuku in the sand dunes. Oh, I mean, our people are very, very, disturbed. So there's much advocacy going on on my island.
even here in Puna,
Oh, really? That's
Aye.
good. Yeah. So OHA just released actually a grant, first time in the history, an EV Kupuna grant to help take care of the EV that's found, and we don't know who they are because many are very old. So I've notified all my peeps on Maui. I said, you folks better go get it, go apply.
What is the grant for? To assist with like reinternment?
What is the what, babe?
The grant is for to like assist with the reinternment process and working with the Burial Council and
Yes.
getting the plans developed.
Right. Well, also too, I think that money is available for anybody who would have to retrieve Evie from another country. You remember how we went to get the cloak from New Zealand?
Aye. Kalani'o Pu'u's cloak.
Right. So that, and it may not be something of that lavish item, but if there's something else relative from, let's say, another museum, we could send a person to go retrieve it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So now at least there's a funding source for people doing this type of work.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome. That's really important. Really important. I have a question
during this pandemic.
How is it affecting Office of Foreign Affairs? The pandemic, how is it affecting the office?
Our office is closed, but we all working from home, except me and my staff. We're in the office because there's just so many critical things going on in the legislature that we have to be in the office. I have to be in Honolulu. So I just came from work, as I said, when the phone rang. But I just wondered how you folks were, how's the community with the monies out there? We put a lot of money in the community for pandemic, for people that needed money for rent, for mortgage, for electricity, water bills. I just wondered if it funneled through the community smoothly. Do you know anything about that?
I've heard of the various ways to go through OHA. I don't personally know anybody that I know of. It's a personal thing of how people make their ends meet sometimes, but I haven't heard of anybody getting the grants, but I did hear about them. Something sorry, Kuma, but I gotta ask something I always in our community that is always coming and that I think would help benefit us. I live here in Pauhua. I teach high school at Pauhua High and Intermediate School. Over half of our student body is Native Hawaiian, 54% at Pauhua High and Intermediate, 54% are Native Hawaiian, and many other Pacific Islanders, Filipinos. I can't really say, a lot of times I'm the only haole in the room in our classes, really. And something that we've been looking towards for our community for some time is our geothermal royalties. We have a power plant, the Puna PGV, the geothermal power plant. It's within 4 miles. Yeah, it's within 4 miles of our school. we're in that blast radius if there was to be a blowout. So we are in the danger zone, our entire little town.
Mhm.
And there are royalties that go to the state, to the county, and to OHA annually, our geothermal royalty fund. And we would like that money to come back to our community in some way, in any kind of capacity, to address our bills and our risk, because we're the community at risk. Yeah. And if there's a profit going towards these other entities, to us, it should come back to us. Why are we one of the most impoverished areas when we have this, you know, so-called cash cow right there in our backyard? But then we are always struggling as a community.
Mhm.
So that's something that's going to throw out there since I get the chance. You know,
I remember questioning that, because I thought that the community should get at least the county share.
at
Mhm.
least,
Mhm.
That was, I think that was the condition when they put in that
yes,
uh,
the royalty
Geothermal.
funds.
geothermal. And so I think one year when they're in Grumble, the county will buy buses, couple buses.
They bought some buses. They put up some security. When we had a county council, Auntie Emily Naiole, she was able to utilize some of that funding to pay for a security guard at our beach, at Pohoiki. There's some other, but manini, nothing compared to what is being received, you know, and that's something I think for us in our community that would make a huge difference. If that royalties that is going to OHA, even if it's a OHA specific to Hawaiian, there's a lot of Hawaiians in our community. So we're, you know, and I think that would be helpful for us when the money is going out from our
You know,
sources.
I'm going to check if OHA got its share, because I don't remember seeing that revenue in our budget.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'll check.
Ooh, mahalo, Anake.
Yeah.
Mahalo nui. It's something that, you know, I was
Yeah.
telling Kumu, you know, this year with the pandemic, all of us teachers were told we cannot have the kind microwave and fridge inside our classrooms, you know, the little one inside your class, for save on the
Right.
HELCO bill, because our electric bill is too high. So we all gotta go.
Oh,
We can't. So I was like, get the power plant right over there. What you mean? But yeah,
right.
I'm just joking.
No,
Yeah.
it should be free, right?
I gotta take my microwave home. But yeah, no, that's something, you know, that I think for our community in relation to OHA, we're very grateful we have the Vaukele Forest Reserve in our area. And that is one of a large OHA asset that
It is.
it's a direct benefit to our community. We're so grateful for that. It
Oh,
really,
good. Good.
Mhm. I was part of the Panaeva food program for the kupuna.
Oh,
And
good.
yeah, so we did receive, you know, we were actually split between Kiokaha and Panaeva. Kiokaha actually was, I guess, contacted first, and then we were able to like partner up with them and be able to bring some of the food to Panaeva. You know, talking with just both of our communities and the people who was involved in that food program when we had the Vibrant Hawaii participate in the making of the food and having us deliver to the families and stuff, it worked out really, really well. But we also thought about, you know, we're homesteads, yeah, Kioka Homestead and Panaeva Homestead. We also have Kaumana, we have Pi'ihonua, we have 7 different associations East Hawaii side. And so, you know, but when we looked overall at, you know, like learning from COVID, because, you know, we realized that a lot of the people in Panaeva especially, I would say about 60% is kupuna, 60 and above.
Wow.
So that became a problem because, you know, us volunteers is that age, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, we have to think of a different way of how we're going to distribute because we are the volunteer, you know, we are the volunteers.
Right.
But also that we realized that, you know, is this going to be the only time we're going to have something like this ever happen in our country, for example, right? And we was like, no, you know, what are we going to do the next time or the next time? You know, we were talking about, you know, we need commercial kitchens in our own communities, where say if Office of Hawaiian Affairs or Kamehameha Schools and Li'uokalani want to merge their money, they can present it to the homesteads where majority population is Native Hawaiians. And that, but you know, we're so inclusive, Auntie. You know, we're so, I mean, everybody benefits from us Hawaiians. You know,
Right.
we don't have that line of, you know, we always going to think about our neighbors, even not in our communities, but we know how sharing we are. So for us, to me, you can trust that if it comes into a community or homestead community and we take care of it. One of the community organizations is the church in Keaukaha, not Malia, but the Hawaiian church. They already have a big group of volunteers that, you know, already feed kupuna and stuff, but they have a commercial kitchen in their church.
Oh,
You know, we're looking at, you know, getting our communities equipped at least with a certified kitchen, so we can prepare the foods good for our kupuna.
yes.
We've been, you know, putting the money into an organization that makes food for kupuna, ACOC, you know, great, you know, but when we get the food that's being delivered and I look down and I go, you know, our kupunas will never say anything about the preparation. They would never ever speak up because they're so grateful. But I'm,
Denabo Okano.
yeah, but for
But
me as a makua kupuna, I think we can do better. I think that we would always look for the best of our own people and people that we are involved with. We will always look for that attainability of the best, no matter
mhm,
how it comes. But the way that we saw the program coming down was money came down through Li'uokalani, Kamehameha Schools, Office of Hawaiian Affairs, went to a nonprofit organization. And then, you know, they did their best in whatever they did. They gave it to a kitchen. They did their best. You know, that's how we think. They did their best to provide that food and everything. But if we had to do it all over again, then, you know, I am going to be taking this to the Hawaiian Homestead Association and also to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands and saying the Hawaiian Homelands they have to invest in certified kitchens in all of our communities, because then we can provide that food sovereignty for our people. We have the farmlands, you know, we have this, we already have that mechanism that we can get food, you know, for the people from our homelands, farming, agriculture. You know, we're starting to now get more individual homes, you know, residential homes, building up their backyard farming.
uh-huh.
If we had to do it all over again, we're also involved in a meat program from Mauna Kea. And one of the reasons why, for our example, Pineapple Association has not accepted all the meat that comes in is because at one time we were cutting up the meat, bring the cow down, cutting up the meat and everything in an uncertified situation. So we now
Oh,
do not accept any meat from Hawaiian homes unless it's been USDA approved and Lapohoihoi, you know, meat, what is a slaughterhouse. What I'm saying is there's all these things that, you know, that are out there and we went through the pandemic and we're very, very grateful. We are really, really grateful that Office of Hawaiians and our trust have come together and did that. But it's not coming directly into us. So if this situation happens again, I would really like to see that even if Office of Hawaiian Affairs can like somehow, you know, help DHHL or the communities put up the certified, then to me, that's the best way to get the immediate, the surveys or the, you know, feedback, whatever, straight to Office of Hawaiian Affairs. This grant that you gave us, there's so many people we fed, there's so many kupunas we fed, there's so many kupunas that are taking care of their grandchildren now because of this pandemic. You know, the immediateness of the feedback.
It could even be the direct line from the people's backyards to the certified kitchen to be clean and prepared, and then straight to the family without all these other middlemen. Yeah.
Yeah. And, we're not complaining about the system that we had to go through because it was an emergency, whatever. We're just saying that looking ahead, it's called accountability. I think that a lot of times in this kind of situations, there's a lot of accountability. Like, how much did your money that you paid out, chairwoman, came back in surveys or feedback of, you gave $3 million, for example, and where did it go? How many Native Hawaiians was affected by it? How many
Right.
families that kupuna,
Actually, I have asked for those statistics. Exactly what you're saying. I have asked our administration, tell me how our money is affecting our people. I because I kind of feel like I don't like to give the money to a middle person. I want to give it directly to the need. So I don't know if you might have remembered, but I think about 4 years ago, I was the RM chair, the resource management chair, and our administration decided to give the charter schools money to a nonprofit that had nothing to do with charter schools. And our charter school principals just was so upset. So I stopped the process and I pulled back the money and I made OHA write the checks to the charter schools. And they were so happy. But there's so much checks to be written and we don't have the proper staff to be able to do that for all the grants that we give out. That's why we give it out to big associations like CNHA, Hawaii Community Assets, but if they don't give us proper reports, then aole. I mean, it's hard to continue giving them our money to distribute. And I know that they just give out the money. You think they tell our people that that's OHA's money? No. I want our people to know what OHA is doing for them.
Right.
That's because OHA's money is our people's money. It's not, it doesn't belong to OHA. But our people need to know that they're getting the money, because sometimes when we go out into our communities, we hear comments like, "Oh, what you guys do for us? You folks are," they accuse us of this, that, and what have you. And I think, something is wrong with this picture, because we give out $13 million every year in grant money. No, how can our community not know that?
Right.
So I have discussed it with our administration and telling them we got to do better in letting our beneficiaries know what kind of money is available and where it's coming from. So it's a constant work in progress, trying to get better and trying to get better, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to get better.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
And
all we
in
can
our
do.
communities, except like in Puna, very successful with the feeding of kupuna, getting them the fruits and vegetables,
Yeah.
everybody working really, really hard to at least participating that way. So, but when it all comes down to it, I guess in my administrative kind of mind, it's like, but where is the accountability? Because that's why you have questions or statements like, "Oh, we don't know, what you folks have done for us. So why should we help you?" That kind of action. And it's something that I think that especially our trust should make sure that they have accountability to especially the people that you gave the money to, and where is the paperwork that follows this whole thing, because when we fill out the applications, Chairwoman, it's basically our name and especially the homestead, what street we live on, we give our email, our all of our stuff and everything, and basically what happens with that information. And then they've actually, a lot of this programs required an email, and I said our kupunas don't have email. Well, they should try to get it from their grandchildren. Okay, but they don't. A lot of them don't, have that access. And so what do? Well, we'll try to figure that out. Well, that means that they never apply with you then, because that's going asterisk. So therefore, they're not on your program. But I have to feed them. That kind of stuff happens. So,
Right,
Yeah.
right,
like you said, the programmatic part and everything, but,
right, right.
for, I often wonder, especially for you as the chair, you work with 8 other trustees, and how does that dynamic work? That yes, we have all of these missions and we have the vision for the next 2 years, and but so do they. So do they. And
Yeah.
how do you do it?
Mm.
I pull it
Very
for you every
carefully.
day.
Just keep
I
on
pull it
praying
for all
for
our
me.
leaders. Yeah.
No, it's not easy, but I think if we work um, with respect for one another,
Mhm.
I think that we can still holomua,
Mhm.
and we're trying really hard to do that and not get sidestepped with bad behavior,
Mhm.
because our Hawaiians, they always like duke them out,
Mhm.
um, everything is an argument.
Unnecessary. Yeah, unnecessary.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting better.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're definitely trying harder. But I believe that all of the trustees have the same mindset, and that is that we all are very aware of our mandate, and that is to improve the conditions of our Hawaiian people.
Right.
So, you know,
Do you see
nobody,
any need for reform in OHA and the way OHA is structured? In your years there, I'm sure you have seen things that and have an understanding of it as an entity that most of us, almost, majority of us will never be able to experience or really understand the way that you've been able to in being there for all those years. What do you see that like OHA in the big picture? Where's
I I don't see too much change in the big picture, but we are making changes. I want to say almost every single month for
Oh,
the
good.
better, you know. Um, like we just this EV Kupuna grant, for example.
yeah,
This is the first time. And then
right.
we changed our competitive, we have competitive grants, and we have Ohana community grants,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
you know.
The
And
is that the Ahahui ones? Oh no, it's
no,
different.
that's not, it's
Yeah.
different.
Okay.
Ahahui is for events,
Right.
you
Okay.
know. No, the Ohana community grants are for things that people really need, like baby diapers,
Mm.
baby formula, dental work,
Wow.
fix your car. That grant just went out this week, first time too.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
the kind of little
That's
changes that we're
major,
making.
Auntie. That's a
Yeah,
major one when like little micro kind of, and they're grants, not loans.
they're grants.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a big thing.
yeah, it is. And I hope it gets into the right hands as far as nonprofits, so that they're fairly given out,
Right.
because of course there is always an application process. And if you qualify, then you get it. But yeah, it can
Oh
service
my
a
kai.
lot of a lot of loose ends that more money for. That's what this grant is for.
And that's
Mm.
that's the ones that hold you back, like even me. I just, I got some money finally saved up and then boom, find out I gotta move and gotta moving expenses and this and that. And it's those little things that just life happening and it will catch you. And then there
Right.
goes over half of what you and save. And you're
Right.
back 3 years of 2 years I was scrimping and saving, and there I went with this car repair and the move. And so wow, I could really see how that would be so useful for
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
the opportunity. And that's, I think, the perception, yeah, that there's this entity to catch your safety net,
Right.
to catch you. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
Oh.
that's good news.
Whew.
See what you mean. That's these small things that's really not though. They're big. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of
Mhm.
people don't know. But if
Yeah.
you do you folks get the Kawaiola?
I
Mhm.
I
If our people would just read that Kawaiola really well, they'll find out all the new things that we have done and all the different monies that are available, you know,
all right.
so they can
Yeah.
apply.
We have a question from Yopa, Uncle Yopa. He said if there's going to be extensions on those new EV Kupuna grants, he was asking.
Extensions meaning what?
Like, is there a time period where it's just a one cycle, or are there going to be continuous cycles of grants?
Oh no, there's not going to be an extension on this year's cycle, but there may be a EV Kupuna grant, you know, every year or every 2 years, depending if it's a biennial. Actually, we were just discussing when you talk about a reform, I was sharing with our CEO that, you know, our people know like wait 2 years for the grant period to open. I think we should have grants every year, you know, instead of every 2 years. So we're even looking at that. I
Mm.
would think that EV Kupuna will be an ongoing grant. I don't know how much it'll be. I don't think it'll be consistent. You know, I think this year, what was it? 200,000, 150,000, I think. That's a
Total,
lot. Yeah, that's a lot of money for 1 year of EV, you know.
Mhm.
right?
But that all depends, of course, how big the problem is. You know,
Mhm.
some
Right.
places get plenty uncovering. 150 could never fix Kawaihao,
Right.
but 150 could fix maybe 3-4 different districts that have, you know, some falling out of, let's say, the ocean, hitting up against graveyards that were done, that were
Yeah.
created on the ocean front.
Mhm.
And now with this
Right.
global warming, you know,
Right.
the waves are hitting those embankments and are EV falling out.
Does that,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, there's all kinds. And then also like the legal issues at times, yeah, that can
Yeah.
accompany protecting the EV or ensuring that they're not disturbed.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a big issue. Wow, that will be
thank
good.
you.
Uncle said thank you. He
Oh,
said mahalo.
well, mahalo to you folks too for inviting
Yeah.
me to Kuka
Thank you so
Kuka.
much.
And you know, if you
Yeah,
folks have any questions, don't hesitate to call. Just call and ask questions. You know, our even if our people are home working, our phones ring in our homes.
right.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
okay.
we're always available to answer your concerns and your questions.
Oh,
Okay.
mahalo.
Thank
And
you
I
so
think
much.
I think that's good, and that's part of our goal with this show, right? Is to introduce our leaders to our people, and to, you know, sometimes there can be that disconnect when you think, well, she's busy in her office in Honolulu, and you know, like Bala, but you know, it's really reassuring to hear that from you, Anake, that you know
No,
it's
Mhm.
open, and we
we're
thank you
never
so
too
much.
busy. We're
Thank you
never too
so much.
busy for you folks. You're welcome.
Well, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for
Okay.
being with us tonight and for giving our
Mhm.
for, you know, being out, putting yourself out there to get, you know, that people really get to know you and part of your journey and the work you've been doing. And we mahalo you so much for everything you've been doing.
You're very welcome. And thank you for having me. And aloha to all the people in Hilo, Hilo,
Hi.
Puna, the whole island of
And
Hawaii.
Hawaii, the
Yeah.
worldwide.
Yes, right.
Okay, well, thank
Yes.
you so much for
Okay.
joining us tonight.
All right. Hui
Okay,
ho.
Awi ho.
ahiho.